I'm delighted to be here to read with Patricia, a friend of mine, a colleague last year at Tech, read with Billy and Sharon, and people I've known, poets I've known and whose work I've loved for so long. It's just a pleasure. This first poem is called Refrigerator 1957. More like a vault. You pull the handle out, and on the shelves, not a lot. And what there is, a boiled potato in a bag, a chicken carcass under foil, looking dispirited, drained, mugged. This is not a place to go in hope or hunger. But just to the right of the middle door shelf, on fire, a lit from within red, heart red, sexual red, wet neon red, shining red in their liquid, exotic, aloof, slumming in such company, a jar of maraschino cherries. 3/4 full, fiery globes like strippers at a church social. Maraschino cherries, maraschino, the only foreign word I knew. Not once did I see these cherries employed, not in a drink, nor on top of a glob of ice cream, or just pop one in your mouth, not once. The same jar there through an entire childhood of dull dinners. Bald meat, pocked peas, and, see above, boiled potatoes. Maybe they came over from the old country, family heirlooms, or were status symbols bought with a piece of the first paycheck from a sweatshop, which beat the pig farm in Bohemia, handed down from my grandparents to my parents to be someday mine, then my child's. They were beautiful. And if I never ate one, it was because I knew it might be missed, or because I knew it would not be replaced, and because you do not eat that which rips your heart with joy. I had a dear, dear friend named Robert Winter, a poet. He happened to be a quadriplegic. He died almost 20 years ago now, but this is an elegy for Robert Winter. I dreamed my friend got up and walked. He was tall, taller than me, and we were young, striding down some stairs, 2 at a time, headlong, on our way to sports or girls. What did it mean, my psyche freeing him, freeing me? My friend is gone. No metaphors. Dead, who broke his neck in 1946, 6 months before I was born, and then 40 years in a wheelchair. A medical miracle. He's in the textbooks to live that long with a shattered spine, and now he's dead, whom I loved. He was a poet and administered a cemetery, a profession, a business like any other. He had an office there, and now a grave. Mostly we talked poetry, not business. In my dream, I wished we'd smashed his chair, sent its bent wheels wobbling over a cliff, or I wished we'd run to where the boulder is, just beneath the surface of the stream on which he broke his neck, and dove in together, emerged, dove again, and emerged. I dreamed my friend got up and walked. We were striding down some stairs, and he was tall, taller than me. This is called The People of the Other Village. I wrote it after the first Gulf War. The people of the other village hate the people of this village, and would nail our hats to our heads for refusing in their presence to remove them, or staple our hands to our foreheads for refusing to salute them if we did not hurt them first. mail them packages of rats, mix their flour at night with broken glass. We do this, they do that. We peel the larynx from one of their brothers' throats. They defame one of our sisters. The quicksand pits they built were good. Our amputation teams were better. We trained some birds to steal their wheat. They sent to us exploding ambassadors of peace. They do this, we do that. We canceled our sheep imports. They no longer bought our blankets. We mocked their greatest poet. And when that had no effect, we parodied the way they dance, which did cause pain. So they in turn said our God was leprous, hairless. We do this, they do that. 10,000 years, 10,000 brutal, beautiful years. This is called autobiographical. Autobiographical. The minute my brother gets out of jail, I want some answers. When our mother murdered our father, did she find out first? Did he tell her, the pistol's tip parting his temples' fine hairs? Did he tell her where our sister, the youngest, Alice, hid the money Grandma, mother's side, stole from her golden age group? It was a lot of money, but enough to die for was what Mom said she asked him, giving him a choice. I'll see you in hell, she said, Dad said. And then she said, this is on the trial transcript, not anytime soon, Needle Dick. We know Alice hid the money. She was arrested a week later in Tacoma for armed robbery, which she would not have done if she had it. Alice was. She died of a heroin overdose 6 hours after making bail. Syphilitic, stupid, and rude, but not greedy. So she hid the money, or Grandma did, but since her stroke can't say a word, doesn't seem to know anybody. Doing a dime at Dannemora for an unrelated sex crime, my brother might know something, but won't answer my letters, refuses to see me, though he was the one who called me at divinity school after Mom was arrested. He could hardly get the story out from laughing so much. Dad had missed his third in a row the day before with his parole officer. The cops were sent to pick him up. Bad timing, said Mom, and found him before he was cold. He was going back to jail anyway, Mom said the cops, which they could and did use against her to the tune of double digits, which means, what with the lupus, she's guaranteed to die inside. Ask her, she won't talk to me. She won't give me the time of day. I saw on a bridge, an overpass outside of Asheville, North Carolina, on a highway overpass, in huge letters, some guy had printed in huge letters, I love you, Sweatheart. I love you, Sweatheart. And that's the title of this poem, I love you, Sweatheart. A man risked his life to write the words. A man hung upside down, an idiot friend holding his legs, with spray paint to write the words on a girder 50 feet above a highway. And his beloved, the next morning, driving to work. His words are not meant to be so unique. Does she recognize his handwriting? Did he hint to her at her doorstep the night before, something special, darling, tomorrow? And did he call her at work, expecting her to faint with delight at his celebration of her, his passion, his risk? She will know I love her now. The world will know my love for her. A man risked his life to write the words. Love is like this at the bone. We hope love is like this, Sweatheart. Sore and dumb and dangerous, ignited, blessed, always, regardless, no exceptions, always, in blazing matters like these, blessed. Called salve, S-A-L-V-E, salve, 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 we usually pronounced it. Paint me with it, he tells the nurse, and calls too for balm, ointment, slather it all and add some tincture on him. In the soft moth powder of it, swathe him on white sheets in a white room. Some unguent on his clavicle, please, nurse, and on each ventricle lotion would be good. To each temple, assuagement. To the bony corners of his eye sockets, your fingers, nurse, to press their anodynes. Pour a river with rivulets of emollients from his nape down his spine's valley. Let a pool fill there, a shallow pond of salve. Let it gather there. Then place a tiny boat upon its eastern shore, nurse, and launch it westward gently with your thumb. This is called to help the monkey cross the river. Help the monkey cross the river. They're in like a jungle. There's no bridges. There's no little ferries for them to go across. No canoes. So they have to swim. To help the monkey cross the river, which he must cross by swimming for fruits and nuts, to help him, I sit with my rifle on a platform high in a tree, same side of the river as the hungry monkey. How does this assist him? When he swims for it, I look first upriver. Predators move faster with the current than against it. If a crocodile is aimed from upriver to eat the monkey, and an anaconda from downriver burns with the same ambition, I do the math, algebra, angles, rate of monkey, croc, and snake speed, and if it looks as though the anaconda or the croc will reach the monkey before he attains the river's far bank, I raise my rifle and fire 1, 2, 3, even 4 times into the river just behind the monkey to hurry him up a little. Shoot the snake, the crocodile, they're just doing their jobs. But the monkey has little hands like a child's, and the smart ones in a cage can be taught to smile. This is called The Corner of Paris and Porter. It's a kind of love poem. The most common kind of love poem. Meet me there. You remember the corner of Paris and Porter. We stood on that spot after walking our city all day, dropped off the earth, lost each in the other. We live in the house there, we said. We loved the sway-back porch, the elms in the yard towering. We stopped in the thick, still shade of one, the sidewalk raised and cracked by its roots. On the curb, a mailbox, a gape, flag up, a dry bird bath in the yard, and in the driveway, a yellow car. This was lucky, a yellow car, a child once told me. The sunlight, a wall slamming down outside the shade circle. 2 old sisters, we guessed, lived there, 2 lace antimacassars on 2 wicker porch chairs. We'd knock on the door, tell them we loved their house, which they'd then bequeath to us. On the corner, the house we found by chance, chirps and child calls, the clanking of lunch dishes, though we saw not one child or bird. The mailman, we never saw him either, but knew his name was Steve, would leave great piles of letters the grocery and the garden would provide. It was the corner of Paris and Porter, in that part of the city where we'd never walked before. It was south and farther south, past downtown, Beyond the meat district, the fish market, past the street of clocks, the tripe stalls, the brick kilns, the casket factories, we turned east a few blocks north. There was nothing but warehouses and long blocks of lots, tall fences topped by barbed wire, behind which what? We walked over a bridge. The train tracks beneath were thick with weeds, and there it was, a neighborhood, houses, yards, shrubs. We were talking and talking, I don't know how many miles, lost in each the other, and though we did not know where we were, we knew where we were going, the corner of Paris and Porter. Remember, the day was blue and clear. I recall the exact path of an ant, the mica glinting in the curbstone, a curtain parting momentarily at your laugh. I could have drowned in your hair. Meet me there today. Don't be late, on the corner of Paris and Porter. The last times I went to visit my parents not long ago, my parents live in Massachusetts. They're quite elderly, but they're in pretty good shape. That they still use the same sugar spoon in their sugar, but it's a different bowl, a sugar bowl, but it's the same spoon that was there when I was a kid, and it was old when I was a child. So it's a very old sugar spoon. And I got to thinking about that. Sugar spoon. Low 7 digits, 1,265,075 approximately, until it's almost as flimsy as tinfoil. This spoon plunged into the same sugar bowl every morning, 2, 3, 4 times for half a century, 3 quarters. At night, deep in sweetness, it rests. And at dawn, when the battered coffee pot begins to rattle, it's still sunk in the white grains, while outside snow drifts to the eaves almost. Or in summer, the sticky sugar hardens on it in little Arctic ridges. On the handle, my father's thumbprint exactly on top of his thumbprint, thousands and thousands. Between each print of his, my mother's. It's going a bruised green in the recesses of its engraved viney trees, sheep handle. It cost a few pfennigs once with its bowl. It will serve and serve until the bottom of its shiny curve grows so thin a tiny hole opens, and thenceforth it will leave a dusting of its cargo, a trail, a grainy Milky Way across the maple table from the bowl to my father's, my mother's coffee cup. This is called Her Hat, That Party on Her Head. Sounds a little bit like a Stephen Dobbins title. Patricia mentioned him. One of these books is dedicated to him. A dear friend and a great poet. Her hat, that party on her head. I saw first and only her hat. I saw neither face nor shoulder, no lawn or garden nearby, no white tablecloth, champagne flutes, or trays of treats pierced by toothpicks that fit with her hat at this place, a side street in a village in a country across a border. Looking with bad directions for a bus brought me here. Behind a rectory, a priest in his robe read a newspaper, leaning back in a chair with his bare feet on the table. I've never seen such white feet. I saw also dust, stained laundry on lines, 2 roosters. Some sagging wires hung above. Then, on the other side of the fence, her hat, rising and dropping with each step. She walked the fence's length and disappeared. She returned and walked the fence again. She was walking a circuit, Payne's little looping course. She walked slowly, and too often her head tipped forward, her eyes turned down beneath the garden, the birthday party on her head. Who is gone so long from her? Beneath the bougainvillea and lily, beneath fuchsia's little lamps, beneath the yellows and greens and blues, whose absence made her wear this hat, to help but fail to let this absence go? This is called autobiographobia, which is a fear of autobiography. Autobiographobia. I shan't tell you about switching his wooden leg for her wooden leg. I shan't confess my lies and the lies against me when I said I loved X but really loved Y and was sleeping with Z to injure the feelings of X who was sleeping with Z and Y and me. Whether I was there or not when the sky fell, how I learned the cure for lesions of the heart, if it's true or not that I keep in a coop on my roof the only 2 extant dodo birds plus 1 dodo egg. My lips are sewn shut, might as well be with baling wire. I had many funny uncles. Not one ever put his hands in my pants. Never met a dipsomaniac until I left home and wandered all those years in and out through the lives of others. My life is one filled with blessings, and if I've been wronged, then for each wrong I've been multi-blessed, which is why I will not confide my serial poisoning of parakeets. It would be fruitless to ask me regarding my part in the extinction of sheep. About my childhood, not a peep. I sold my grandmother's hearing aid not only for cash, but also to facilitate my screaming in her face. I loved my grandmother, whose husband I did not know. Because I'm telling the truth, there is no shame. Because I'm telling the truth, and I'm sure it actually happened, I was there, because I'm telling the truth, it is right that I only talk of myself, and never of you, or you, and you, or you. This is called eyes scooped out and replaced by hot coals. Eyes scooped out and replaced by hot coals. The above, the punishment, the mild but just punishment, symbolic, the great advancement in penology, also in behavior, mod, sadistic, masochistic desire, and beauty, cosmetic advancement, our planet most needs. The procedure is painless, using methods currently available only in cartoons. Polls were taken, it was voted upon overwhelmingly in favor. The justness of it, known in the bone by each of our nation, is undeniable. Thus, it is proclaimed on this day, Anno Domino, etc., I, the final arbiter and ultimate enforcer of such things, appointed by the king, make official and binding this, that the eyes shall be gouged out and replaced by hot coals in the head, the blockhead of each countryman or woman who, upon reaching their majority, has yet to read Moby Dick. I'll finish with this poem called The Pier Aspiring, P-I-E-R, like, where boats are tied up to. This is kind of ars poetica. Like to end with on that kind of note. Ars poetica, a poet's his or her kind of attitude, opinion, definition of the art form. Ars poetica. The pier aspiring. The guy speaking this poem he's building this pier, but he's on the land end of the pier, and he's talking about it to somebody else, about the pier. See if you can see how far out it goes. See? You can't see the end. I'd take you out there, but it's a 6-hour walk, and the work redundant. One board laid down after another. When the sun is high, the boards are hot. Splinters always pose a problem walking any other way but straight. What keeps me working on it, driving piles, hauling timber, what's kept my hand on the hammer, the barnacle scraper, what keeps me working through the thirst, the nights when the waves' tops pound the pier from beneath, what keeps me glad for the work, the theory is, despite the ridicule at the lumber yard, the treks with pails of nails, my arms 2 centimeters longer each trip, the theory is this: it's my body's habit, hand over foot, paycheck to paycheck. It's in the grain of my bones, lunch bucket to lunch box. It's good to wear an X on my back, to bend my back to the sky. It's right to use the hammer and the saw. It's good to sleep out there, attached at one distant end, and tomorrow adding to that distance. The theory is it will be a bridge. Thank you very, very much.